Before diving into fully making abilities for our turn-based combat system, I think we're going to take what we made last time with the gameplay effects and make some equipment, because that's also a very key part to your turn-based RPG, most likely. Obviously, this would likely hook into some sort of inventory system. If you need an inventory system, I have an entire series on that as well. We're gonna just do something fairly basic here to show you the setup that we're gonna go with. So what we're going to do is we'll make a new blueprint and we'll make a child of the static mesh component. So you just look for static mesh component over there. Now, there is an argument to be made that you want to do this as a skeletal mesh, because if you have specific parts of your armor, for instance, that you want to be able to equip and deform with the character. If it's just something like a helmet, you can just hook it up to a socket on the character's head, but if it's like a full breastplate, for instance, you want to be able to have that deform with the character, in which case it being a skeletal mesh that shares the same skeleton with your character is probably a little bit of a better setup. It goes a little bit more into things than I want to do right now, because that's not really the point of what we're trying to get across here. I probably will just make a separate video about that in the future. So for now, we're going to go with this being a static mesh component. And we'll call this mesh equipment or equipment mesh or something along those lines. We'll give this a couple of variables. The first being the slot name. So this is going to be either like head or body or gloves or boots or whatever. Just something that you can check on whether or not the equipment that you're trying to equip goes into this place to begin with, which is going to be exposed as instance editable. Then we don't really need begin play or even event tick on this. We're going to make our own custom event for equipping. So let's call that equip. And there we take in an equipment asset. Now, I like to do this as a data asset because my own inventory system also is data asset based. If you have something different, obviously, you might need to adapt to suit whatever you have going on. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a blueprint class, and that will be a data asset, type primary data asset, and we'll call that equipment data asset. Open that up. This will also have a couple of variables, starting with the slot name. So this is what we're going to compare when we try to equip something from an asset. We're just going to look at that asset, say, hey, do you go on the slot that this mesh component represents? If so, we'll move on. If not, obviously we won't move on. So that's going to be a name variable. Then we'll add in some modifiers, which is going to be a struct that we have to make. So let's call this modifiers and then make that struct. So we might need to start organizing this a little bit better in a moment as well. But for blueprint structure, call this attribute modifier. And maybe like don't misspell it like I am doing, which is obviously going to have the attribute name, is going to have the target stats, because we want to know minimum, maximum, whatever. What do we want to change? We want to add the magnitude, obviously. We'll give these names in a second. And then again, the operation. So that will be the effects math. I think we called that, right? Yeah. So give these names. This will just be name of the attributes. This will be stat values. This will be magnitude. And this will be the operation that we do on it. So this way we can create a equipment data asset with those modifiers as an array. So we can make this the attributes modifier, which I horribly misspelled. I'll fix that eventually, I'm sure. And that's going to be an array, because the way that we want to do this is we can set up this to now influence both the attack and the defense and the magic stat and everything that this specific piece of equipment needs to represent. I guess you can also add in a text variable for the display name of given stats as well. It's entirely up to what you want to do with that. If you want to display these stats in a menu, maybe that's a good idea. At that point, changing these two out for an actual just like attribute struct might make more sense. Feel free to do whatever you want with that. And then since this is going to be a static mesh, we also want to know what mesh represents this, obviously. So we add in a mesh as static mesh, object reference, and we expose all three of these values. So this is going to be our data asset class. This is the template for our data asset. Now that we have that, we can make a data asset of that type. So we will have, if we look through here, equipment data asset. And let's just make this like a helmet or something like that. I don't have a mesh for this, but it'll go on the head slot and it will increase my maximum HP. So let's go to max value for the HP. And it's going to add to this like 100. So this will be one of the assets. You can make as many assets as you want here. If you have an inventory system, this would also tie into being a item data asset. Again, if you're using a data asset based system for your inventory like I would. But we can now go back into the mesh equipment, and there we also make a custom event for unequip, obviously. So unequip. We'll fill this out in a moment, but it just needs to exist because it's going to be part of the equipment code itself. So we'll take in a equipment asset as a input here. So this will be the equipment that we're trying to equip. And that's again horribly misspelled because I tend to do that. That will be a equipment data asset object reference. And from that we can get the slot name and we can check, hey, whatever we're trying to add in, do the slot names match between this component and whatever asset we're trying to add. If they don't, we just kind of don't let them do anything. But if they do match, we unequip what is currently equipped. So we unequip that. And then we promote whatever we're trying to put into a variable. So this will be the currently equipped asset. So let's call this currently equipped and we set that. So now we finally get into having to get the ability system component from somewhere outside of the actual like blueprint that owns it or whatever, right? So the way to ideally do that would be to go into your blueprint and set up a blueprint interface. We can call that BPI turn-based combat. And we can create get turn-based component. Or just get ability system component if you want to be like fancy and make it the exact same name that the gameplay ability system uses. And that just outputs for us a component of obviously the type turn-based or gameplay or ability system. What did I call it again? That component that we made. I think I just called it ability system components. Yeah, there we go. So that's what it's going to output. We can go into our turn-based actor here. And implement that. So you can go into the class settings, into the interfaces, implemented interfaces, look for our BPI, and now it has that as a function that we can just drag in our ability system components and give that as a return value. That's all that it needs to do. And then we also, because we've been testing this with the third-person character, because we don't have a battle scene yet and all that kind of stuff. So this also needs to implement that. So again, we go into here and then we BPI turn-based combat, and then we go into that interface and provide our ability system component in so that the rest of our code can now access ability system components on various different objects. Back to the mesh equipment component, slight little detour. We want to get the owner of this component, which is going to be an actor, and from that we want to get the turn-based components, because obviously we want to apply effect to self. And the effect that we're going to be applying will be the modifiers from our equipment data assets. So we have our currently equipped variable here. We get the modifiers and we for each loop over those so that we apply all of them. We can just split the structure pin, give in a name, give in the stats, which will be this one, the magnitude, the operation. There will be a temporary effect because they need to reverse themselves when they get de-equipped, and they don't have a turn counter because obviously it doesn't automatically unequip after a certain amount of turns. Then we do want this component to also keep track of the effects that it added, because it's going to need to unequip them. It's going to need to end those effects manually. So for that, going into apply effect to self. Last time we didn't give this a return value. Apply effect to target has a return value. It's probably good to also pull that through as a return value for apply effect to self. And now that we have that, we can add that to an array of effects. So let's call this effects as a variable, which will be of type turn effect, object reference, turn that into an array. And anytime we make one of these, we just add unique, the effect that we just created. Then at the very end, because this is a child of the static mesh component, we need to remember that we're actually working within a static mesh, right? We can just set static mesh, because again, in the end, we're working within a static mesh component. We're just adding some functionality on top of what the static mesh component already does. And we're going to get the mesh from our currently equipped data asset. So we get the mesh, which apparently I accidentally made into an array. That's not what that's supposed to do. So let's go into here real quick, turn that back into a singular variable. That's my mistake, but now we can set that. And in the helmet, let's actually just quickly set this to material sphere, which is going to be really big, but for now, for demonstrational purposes, I think that'll be good. So that gets us to unequipping, because obviously that's also quite important. For unequipping, all that we need to do is we need to get our current effects that we applied when equipping this. We for each loop over those, and we simply end the effects on all of those. And because those are set up as temporary effects, they will take care of whatever like their absolute magnitude change was and reverse it like we set it up in the previous video. Then once that is done, we clear the array so that it's empty for whatever is going to like equip next to it, and then we set our current equipment to being a empty value, and we make sure that our static mesh also gets set to a empty value. So that's the basic idea of setting up like this equipment system. Again, you can tweak this to however you personally like it. We're going to go on the third person character for now, and I'm just going to add in a equipment mesh as a child of the skeletal mesh here. And then we can set the parent socket. I'm going to set this to be the head bone, which is right here. So it'll be parented to the head. And the slot name for this one is going to be head. Do make sure to double check your spelling. It's case sensitive, so I needed to make sure if I used a capital H there. And then in the event graph, I can, when I press the F key, instead of just applying an effect to self, what I can do is I can get my mesh equipment and I can equip. And I can equip the helmet. And then when I press the debug key for like G instead, I can unequip. And that should then allow me to equip and unequip with stat changes. So we're getting the current value for our HP now. We are changing the max value. So we're actually going to get max attribute for HP, because I need to be able to show you that it's actually doing something, right? So let's replace that real quick. And now if we start playing the game, we should be able to see everything work out fantastic. And now we will see that I have 100 HP, so I can equip. I have a, well, sort of a helmet, for lack of a better term, and I have 200 HP, and then when I unequip, I go back to not having that helmet and go back to having 100 HP, max HP, that is. So we essentially now have working equipment that can hook into, again, an inventory system or something of the sort if you like it to. I figured a little bit of a lighter video in between the very heavy gameplay effect stuff and then the very heavy gameplay ability stuff that is going to come next. It's probably a good thing to put these gameplay effects into some sort of smaller context actual use. But that does mean that next time we're going to go back in to something a little bit deeper, and we're going to start making our gameplay abilities. And a very big thank you to all my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help support the channel or get any of the project files in any of my tutorials, there's a link down below to the Patreon page to support me, or alternatively as a YouTube member. And of course, an extra massive thank you to my Cave Digger tier supporters, Sergey Thomas and Mauricio Farias. And my Cave Student tier supporters, Oiku and Earl Monsville Urno.